Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy that you tuned in today. Welcome back to Wellness Wednesday. My name is Dr. Linzi, and I'm a naturopathic doctor right here in Iron River. I specialize in helping people restore their health and revitalize their life. Always our little disclaimer, purpose here is for general health support, not intended to treat or cure disease. We're here to talk about optimizing overall health and wellness, but always consult with your primary care before making any health changes, right? And last week, you remember we talked about if you've ever awoken from a full night's sleep but still felt tired and how you're not alone. And then we unpacked why deep sleep and REM sleep matter and how different small intentional changes can completely transform your energy, your focus, your peace of mind. And so if you missed that, be sure to check it out, the recording on my Facebook page, Dr. Linzi, at Upper Peninsula Natural Wellness there on Facebook, and I post them all there. And today, I want to share something a little bit more personal, because if you've ever felt stuck in your body or confused by your symptoms or frustrated that you were doing everything right and still not getting results, or the things that you've always done that worked before are no longer working, I want you to know you are truly not alone. This is what was going on with me as well, you guys. So even as a naturopathic doctor, and this is someone who lives a very healthy lifestyle, and I practice the principles that I teach to patients every day. I live it, I practice it. Anybody who knows me knows that that's true. But this past year, you guys, I hit a wall. I hit a wall, and it really shook me because I do so many things right. But if I have learned anything over the years and my struggles, it's that almost always my struggles tend to grow me and push me to learn more. And so what I was struggling with, even as a health professional myself, was a few things that I want to share. I was struggling with weight loss resistance. So for really the first time in my life, my body just stopped responding. I was eating clean, moving my body, staying consistent, doing all the things I know how to do, and nothing was shifting. Not my weight, not my energy, not my inflammation. I also was struggling with under eating, but then overeating because I waited too long to eat without realizing it. So I would wait too long to not eat, be under eating, then overeat because I was just dealing with so much grief and stress, and it was in survival mode. And so I fell into the trap that many women do, not eating enough or skipping meals and thinking that, oh, it's fine, it'll actually be better to not eat as much. But metabolically, my body was totally in stall mode. Also, I was struggling with liver detoxification and gut challenges. So you guys, stress hits so hard on the liver and on the gut microbiome. So my detox pathways were sluggish. My gut was inflamed. I was waking up tired, going to bed tired, and pushing through on grit instead of nourishment, right? And then I also was struggling with, usually, even though when it comes to habit-based approach and accountability, so even though I teach habit-based medicine, I mean, creating the conditions for health are the foundation of naturopathic medicine. It's literally pounded into our head in naturopathic medical school, creating those conditions for health. That's why I share them with you guys all the time. So even though I teach that, I realized I needed more structure, accountability, rhythm, and support that I hadn't been giving myself. And so this whole realization was really humbling. And honestly, it was the wake-up call I needed. And this is also why I want to emphasize how important it is for you guys to have a healthcare practitioner in your corner when you're working on your health journey. Even me as a naturopathic doctor, I had to reach out to a fellow colleague. I had to invest and pay for her time and services to look at my health from the outside in, because I couldn't even see the forest through the trees. To have somebody else help guide me and pour into me, that is so, so helpful. And so I wanted to share with you guys, like what I was struggling with. And many of you guys who listen to Telephone Time or follow me over the years and the different things I've shared, you know that I had a really rough year with all that loss and all that grief. And it's so, I got to experience firsthand how that level of stress actually affects the body, and why it's so important to have people in your corner who can help you, and sometimes you have to pay for it. Even though I have a bunch of amazing colleagues, they're not going to just do that for free. I had to invest in it, but my body needed it. Okay, so now we're going to just switch gears a little bit, and then it's going to come full circle. So I want to give you my honest thoughts on the GLP-1 craze. So the tirzepatide, the Ozempics, the GLP-1 craze, right? So if you've been with me for a while, you know that I've always been strongly against this GLP-1 craze, right? And for good reason. I've seen the side effects. I've seen the muscle wasting. I've seen patients start these meds with no guidance, no monitoring, no nutrition plan, no blood sugar support, and doses that are way, way too high, you guys. And that never sat right with me, right? So, and I also think it's important, it also never sat right with me because weight loss without health is not healing. It's actually harm. So when more and more patients began asking for my opinion around this, I knew I had to research deeper, not because I was changing my philosophy, but because I care too much to dismiss something that is really important to my patients without I have to investigate all the sides. And you guys all know me, right? I research, I question, I pray, I experiment. So the experiment part this time was on me and surprised me. You guys, I have to point out this was really hard for me to experiment on because but the more research I did, the more I realized that this could potentially, when done correctly, which I will explain, can be an amazing accelerator. So this time, the experiment was on me. And after a year of well, my liver was probably greasy for sure. But after a year of grief, stress, cortisol swings, poor sleep, inflammation, emotional heaviness, my body literally wasn't responding to anything I was doing. And I had literally reached a level of metabolic shutdown that required a different kind of support. So after months of research and prayer, I chose to try microdosing of GLP-1 peptides. This is so hard to share with everybody because it was a big deal and why I haven't talked about it for so long. But you guys, I didn't do it the conventional method way, not the high dose approach, but a gentle, conservative, microdosing root cause approach that aligned with what I believe. So it's literally microdose paired with protein forward meals, balanced blood sugar, strength training, liver and gut support, nervous system regulation, a habit-based structure, true accountability, and those are all the things that I teach to patients anyway. But if we can now add in an accelerator when done properly with the very, very small dosing, the results even shocked me, you guys. So the results I experienced were 28 pounds down in 4 months. My inflammation decreased. I now have steady, stable energy. I have better sleep, clearer thinking. I still can't even believe this. And I have a libido. You guys, I don't even remember because many of you know I was on pharmaceuticals, so many pharmaceuticals starting from such a young age. You know, when I entered naturopathic medical school, I was on 6 pharmaceuticals. So I don't even remember what it is like to have a libido. And I feel so balanced and my body feels so good that has actually returned, which is such a sign of vitality, you guys. This is such a big deal. And so my confidence returned, of course, and this is not because of the scale, but because I literally feel like myself again. I feel like my best self. And this is not because of a magic shot, you guys, not because of starvation, but because my metabolic pathways finally opened back up. My cortisol and insulin came back into partnership. My nervous system finally felt safe, and my body had the support it needed to heal, repair, and respond again. And that's when it clicked with me that these GLP-1 peptides can be a powerful tool if you guys, the foundations are in place. If the dose is conservative and not long-term, there needs to be an end in sight. People are taking this for years. No, that's not the solution, you guys. If the person is supported, if the root causes are addressed, and if an experienced healthcare provider is walking with you every step of the way. People can get these peptides anywhere now, you guys. And if you're just going on and getting peptides and losing your appetite and starving yourself, like you are literally renting your quote results, which aren't even results because you're not providing nutrition to your body. The average right now is that the average person on a GLP-1, Ozempic, tirzepatide, any of these, 80% of people gain all the weight back, if not more, in 5 years. So that's the statistic. So this is why it can be a helpful tool if the foundations are in place. if the dose is conservative and not long-term, and there's an end in sight and a goal, and if the person is supported, and I'll say it again, if the root causes are addressed, and if you are working with an experienced healthcare provider to walk with you, to have that accountability, to help you put in place the habits that are what matter. The GLP-1 is still, quote, a supplement. It's meant to supplement your healthy lifestyle habits so that when you get off of it, you will maintain and your body will be in a healthier state than when you started. So if you're wondering with me in these 4 months, I literally lost, of those 28 pounds, because I did, the in-body scan, I only lost 3 pounds of muscle. Now I'm working on regaining that and measuring it and really focusing on building muscle even more now. But the average person on a GLP-1, 30% of their weight loss is their muscle. That makes you metabolically worse, not better. You're more unhealthy than healthy. So that is not what we want. We want you to help support your body. And that's why you need the guidance of a healthcare provider to help you on this journey. So what is coming next here? So because of what I learned, both personally and clinically, I'm going to be stepping into a new season of helping people exactly where I was. Stuck in that survival mode, doing all the things right or all the things you used to do that used to help and nothing's helping anymore, exhausted and inflamed, confused about your metabolism, needing that structure, that nourishment, that accountability, and wanting a safe and supervised root cause approach that isn't just about the medication. That peptide is an accelerator and can help, but that is not the foundation, because this is about a whole person transformation, you guys. It is about the nutrition, giving your body the nutrition it needs. It's about movement. It's about stress reduction. It's about how your liver and gut are functioning. It's about sleep. It's about nervous system regulation, about being consistent and having accountability and guidance and tools, and including a microdose of GLP-1 when that's used correctly with all of those things. And what I love is all those other things I listed are literally naturopathic medicine. That is what we do as naturopathic doctors and what I do at Upper Peninsula Natural Wellness. But there's been such a request, such a demand for wanting to utilize these peptides that I felt I needed to have a solution, because there was going to be a number of my patients that were literally just going to go to their primary care provider and be like, okay, I'm ready for the peptides. But you guys, the problem is when you get them, like that route through the primary care route, you get them in a pre-loaded dose. You cannot control or adjust the dose. And the average dose that a person ends up being on a GLP-1 is about 8 times the dose of what we use with microdosing. That is insane. That is why people feel like garbage, why they have nausea, why they have vomiting, why they feel awful. Because number one, their dose is way too high than what's even needed to see results. And number two, they're not addressing the nutrition, the movement, and all of the things that their body needs to have the support when breaking down those fat cells. So you need that whole person approach. And so I realized that if I didn't look into this and I didn't experiment on myself and, do what I needed to do, I was going to be doing a disservice to my patients, because they were going to go the primary care route, get these massive doses with no guidance, and it wasn't going to be good for their health. And then I would have to try to piece them back together or try to fix what got messed up. And I'm like, oh, I just need to figure out a way how to help patients and do this. And so that is what started the whole process. And then it ended up beautifully changing my life and helping my health so much. You guys, I haven't been this weight, I think, since maybe since high school. And it feels so good. I can't even explain, to not have to feel like just dreading putting clothes on and feeling so uncomfortable in my own skin and just dragging and low energy. Like, it is so exciting. You get like a new sense of hope, a new sense of brightness, a new sense of, it's just beautiful. So if you've been feeling stuck, this may be the exact kind of support your body has been waiting for, and I'm here to walk through that with you. I want to help you go from confusion to clarity, from your body resisting to responding, and from survival mode back into vibrancy. And so next week, I'll be sharing more about the details and how this could work for you and on your health journey. But this week, I just wanted to give you a little insight into what's been going on with me and why. Because I don't want patients or people who know, because I'm a naturopathic doctor, I don't normally utilize pharmaceuticals, but I think it can be used as a tool and an accelerator if done properly. You don't want to just go get yourself some peptides and start taking them and not have the guidance, not have the support, not have the accountability, and not work on your whole body. Does that make sense, Jim?
It does, and it really sounds like you've got a case of physician heal thyself.
Yes. Look at you just using all the right words. That is actually one of the core things when we look at the naturopathic principles is physician heal thyself. And that is one of the things that actually I think helps physicians be better doctors is when they've had to go through different things themselves and they've had their different challenges and their different struggles and they have to learn more. They have to look into it. They have to dig deep. And I tell you what, that first week that I did the injection, I was shaking. I was crying. I was like, oh my gosh, is this going against everything that I believe? And I just feel like it was an emotional thing. But I'm so happy that I did it because I learned that it was actually much more harmful for my body to be carrying those extra 28 pounds and what that was doing to my hormones and my health than the short-term use of a micro dose of a GLP-1. You know what I mean? Whenever you look at interventions, you always want to weigh the cost versus the benefit, right? And of course, if the cost or the risk outweighs the potential benefit, it's probably not a good choice. But if the benefit far outweighs the potential risk, then that may be worth it to do that. And that's what it came down to with this, is that I was with doing a micro dose, very small dose, with it being very short term, and with it being supporting the body in all of the other ways, the benefit of being able for my cortisol and my insulin and to be more regulated, to be able to sleep better, to be able to drop that extra weight. And you remember that visceral fat that I told you about? We've talked about my in-body scan, how high my visceral fat was. So high. And I just was struggling to get it to respond to anything. Jim, it's almost in normal range. So the fat around my organs is almost in normal range. And I'm just like, so the benefit of that on my body, far outweighs that short-term period of taking that.
There are people out there who want to take a journey with you. How can they find you?
Yes. So you can find me on website. That is drlinzi.com. So drlinzi.com. You can also email info@drlinzi.com. That's info@drlinzi.com. You can also call or text 906-829-0500. And we're there Mondays and Thursdays from 8 to 4:30. I think with all of the awesomeness that this is going to bring and how many people this will help, I might have to start a third day. But I just want to thank everybody for tuning in to Wellness Wednesday. And I just really hope this episode encouraged you to explore new ways to support your healing. I'm always exploring new ways, clearly, and help remind you that healing actually is possible. And I encourage you to make creating the conditions for health in your life a priority and to keep supporting that incredible body of yours. And I want you to trust your body, trust nature, and trust the incredible wisdom that God has built into your design.